Good morning and welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Glad you could join me here today as always. Hit that like button and subscribe. And thank you to all my 1,334 subscribers. You are why I'm here, and because I like to do it and it makes me feel good also. So there is a selfish reason and I have it. Today's topic is going to be the war in Ukraine. I'm going to talk about that again because I want to keep it in perspective. 1,000 years ago, we wouldn't have even known it was going on. Maybe 150 years ago, it would have taken a while for it to get to us, and we wouldn't have all the gory details. We wouldn't have the magnification of what's going on. We would have got a few details in the newspaper, maybe by radio, depending on what time, telegraph maybe, and it wouldn't even have been of concern to us here in the U.S. Now, I'm not belittling the loss of life and the disruption of families and men, women, and children. Not at all. I'm not doing that at all. But remember, we have this tragedy pumped into our living rooms 24 hours a day, if you like. We have 24 hours a day of news. And everywhere we go, there are TVs. It's constantly bombarding us with this negativity, these things that we don't want brought into our life. And what are we going to do about that? Well, you can shut off the TV. You can turn the radio off when the commercials come on if you want to listen to music. There are many things you can do. You can listen to YouTube videos with creators with the kind of content that you care to listen to. My content or someone else's. Someone that speaks about something that you want to happen in your life or helps you to change your thinking in a way that you can achieve what you desire, rather than listening to the horror story that's on the news 24 hours a day. It's like going to a movie. It gets you emotional, it gets you drawn in. And now, I'm not bad-mouthing the news. I know it sounds like I am. If I were them, I would do the same thing probably. Morally, I'm not sure if I could. And we have a cat crying in the living room. Okay, I had all the animals out here, but you can't control the animals. Anyway, back to the topic. If they can keep you in an emotional state, it keeps you wanting to watch more and more of it. I'm even drawn into it, and here I'm speaking on the adverse effects of listening to too much of it. I look at the thumbnails sometimes of Fox News and and CNN, and I kind of want to know what's going on, and sometimes in my mind, I tell myself I need to know. But do I really need to know what's going on over there? Do you really need to know? And here's what they do. They blow it up. They want to keep you in a continual state of fear. So they'll put a thumbnail on there of a nuclear bomb or Putin and Biden together and maybe an explosion in the middle or something like that. I guess they call that clickbait because they want you to be afraid. They want you to keep updated of what's going on. And it's actually just a small skirmish. I mean, in comparison of wars. And once again, I'm not belittling the people involved, or the lives of the families and children and everybody as far as that goes. The soldiers, there's been loss of lives on both sides, or at least I think there has. I've been told that. And I'm sure there probably has. But once again, I really don't know. I'm not there. And we only hear what the news media tells us. And remember, their agenda is ratings. And if they can keep you afraid and keep you in an emotional state, you will continue to watch and continue to tune in, which raises their ratings, which means more income. And that is their goal. Their goal, I don't believe so much, is to inform you as to get you pulled in and get you to watch and to keep watching. As I said yesterday, the news wasn't like that so much when I was a kid. It was more of the facts, or at least the facts they wanted us to know. But even then, we didn't know what the truth was. But think about this. How many people died of starvation yesterday? Probably as many that died in the battles in the Ukraine. but that doesn't make headline news. Do you know why? Because if you live in a first world country, you're not worried about starving. And if you live in one of those countries that people are starving and you're right there with them, you're not watching the news because you can't afford a TV. So they're not going to talk about that. But there's a tremendous loss of life every day in the world because of starvation, because of lack of clean water. They don't have enough, and they have, illnesses or disease related to eating, drinking unclean water. So all these things happen every day, but they don't make the news because you're not afraid of that affecting you if you live in a first world country. Or even some third world countries, there's plenty of food. So that doesn't make the news. They don't build that up. They don't focus on that. They focus on this skirmish or this war or this battle in Ukraine because they can get you to believe, lead you to believe that possibly because Russia is such a superpower that they're going to nuke something or it's going to start a nuclear war. When the threat of nuclear war at this moment is not great. It's not really a possibility. Does Putin want to nuke Ukraine? No, he wants the Ukraine. Why would he start a nuclear war? And then they try to get us angry at Biden and Putin. I saw yesterday, and I didn't watch the video or the newscast, where they were comparing Putin to Hitler. Okay, so that's another technique to get you afraid because we know the damage. I think there were over 50 million people died as a result of Hitler's agenda. Okay, so if they can get you to compare Putin to Hitler, then you can start thinking of all the terrible things that could happen. This guy wants to take over the world because history tells us that Hitler wanted to take over the world and he tried and failed. Okay, but if they can get this analogy or this comparison going between Hitler and Putin, then that gives you more fear. Yeah, he's like that. Well, they also compared Trump to Hitler, and probably a few other of our presidents, they've compared him to Hitler. So they try to get you, well, once again, go back to your emotions because most people make decisions on emotions. They think they don't, but they do. Let me give you an example. You've seen car commercials. The car's going down the road. They got the convertible down. It's a mountain scene, beautiful scene. They got the music playing, his hair's blowing. Maybe he's got a beautiful girl in there and they're advertising this car. Okay, they're selling you a feeling. They're not telling you the cubic displacement of the motor. They're not telling you how many miles per gallon it gets. Sometimes they'll post it up on there. They're selling you a feeling. So you think about buying that car because it's going to make you feel good. Now you may logically rationalize it later on when you buy it, but the emotion is what prompted you to go look at it and to buy that car because you want to feel like you saw that guy in the commercial, like you thought he was feeling. So it's a feeling that keeps you attracted, that makes you consume, that makes you want to buy. Look at the commercials about food or anything, games, any kind of product they're trying to sell you. They're trying to sell you a feeling. And people pursue this to the gates of insanity or death, we could say. Because if you think about what you want in life, maybe it's a home, maybe it's financial freedom, maybe to be debt-free, maybe it is to make it to the end of the week. Whatever it happens to be, you're thinking that if you get whatever it is, you're going to have this feeling. Well, this feeling can be cultivated within yourself before you ever achieve on the outside whatever it is you think you need to get you this feeling. So think about that for a while. That's something you can contemplate. But back to the Russian, Ukraine, and the news media. Who knows what's going to happen? But right now, it's just a small skirmish in comparison to other wars. I'm sure if I lived there and had to leave my home, I may not view it as a small skirmish. But in the big picture, if you look at all the wars we've had and the skirmishes and the battles and the wars that were called wars, right now, it's a small thing. Politically, I really don't know what's going on. I'm not sure we only know what the news media tells us. And you've probably heard this before. If you take a group of children, and we're all just like big kids, really. We all got our big toys and things, like men get their fast cars. They're just playing with toys, really. But so you take a group of children and you set them in a circle, let's say 10 children. And the first child whispers in the ear of the child next to him a story, a short story. and it goes around. And by the time it gets back to the original storyteller, it's completely different. We have the same, I can't think of the word. Well, we have the same thing going on here with the news media. You have a person in the field who reports a story to one person. Then it goes to another and another. It goes to the editors, etc. And then we get whatever is left over, so to speak. What they've left out, what they decided was going to stand, what was going to make the ratings. You don't get the actual facts. You get what they want you to think are the actual facts, what they've doctored up or they've worked on to make as dramatic as they possibly can, because they want you to be afraid to keep you emotionally involved in their production. I mean, it's a great marketing strategy. I mean, why wouldn't you do that? Unless you had such a high moral standard that you didn't put money ahead of the welfare of the people. I mean, we can see the same thing in this past 2 years of problems that we had here in the world. They were after everyone for misinformation, when in reality, the mainline media was putting out enormous amounts of misinformation. Now, I'm not saying it was malicious, or I don't know whether it was or whether it wasn't, but look at the effect it had on the people. Look who suffered for it. It's the people. So what I'm telling you is this: if you're that affected by news, shut it off. You don't need it. You don't need to be controlled by the news. Control yourself with your own agenda. Decide what you want in life and just eliminate all this outside clatter. You don't need to know. If it's going to affect you, I'll guarantee you someone will tell you, because I've experienced that. I don't watch the news. I don't read the newspaper. Occasionally I'll get a glimpse and then I regret it later. The point is, and then whatever I need to know will come to me. We don't need to know what's going on the other side of the world. What can you do about it? What can you do about it? Let's say it got really bad or a lot worse. What can you do about it? Nothing. So why do you need to know? You don't need to know. You only think you need to know, and the mainline media will tell you that you need to know. No, you don't need to know. I stayed away from most of all of the information in the last 2 years about this world crisis. I'm still here. My kids and I, all 6 of them, we're just fine. I actually had the best year last year, business-wise, that I ever had. So how can that be? But if I'd allowed myself to get caught up in that drama, like most people did, I mean, I know people that were afraid to come out of their house. And now what are we doing? I think we have as many cases as we ever had, and now everybody's just going back to normal. We could have done that at the start. Sure, people are going to die. I mean, one day I will die. I heard one time it was a good thing to every day realize that one day you will pass away. It's part of life. We have to go so other people can come and do what they need to do. What was it? Marcus Aurelius had a slave follow him around and tell him, one day you're going to die. He would whisper it in his ear, one day you're going to die. And one day we are all going to die. Do I want to go today? No, I don't. I want to keep making videos for you guys. I have goals, I have dreams. It keeps me going. I like that. But we are going to die someday. And our time comes and there's nothing we can do about it. Now, that doesn't mean you should walk out in front of a semi-truck coming down the road at 70 miles an hour. And of course, we should take precautions if you desire to live. But we're going to die someday. But many people die before they're ever put in the grave because of fear. They're afraid to live their life because they're so controlled by fear. And back up to the news, they want you to be afraid. Do you want to live in fear? Do you want to live in fear? I don't want to live in fear, and I know you don't. If there is a devil, and I've said this before, it's fear and doubt. Fear is the opposite of belief, or faith if you like. According to your faith, it is done unto you. However you believe, that's what's going to transpire in your life. If you believe things are terrible and getting worse, guess what? That is what you're going to experience in your life. I'm not talking about an ostrich, about you putting your head in the sand. Reality is real, but the reality you step into or you experience in life has a lot to do, or maybe everything to do, with what you're thinking about life, how you believe life to be. The news media would have you think that this is the most dangerous thing that's ever happened. And we all know it's not, but yet when we focus on it, we believe it is. What are you focusing on today? Focus on what you desire, not what you're afraid of happening to you. It's really just that simple. Well, it's a simple concept, but not easy to do, but much easier to do when you shut off all those things that you're allowing into your mind that you don't want to happen, such as the news media, negative content on YouTube, negative books. I mean, it goes on and on. You have the power to control what you allow in your mind. And by allowing only what you want into your mind, you will experience more of that in your life. So think about that. That's all I have time for today. Thanks for joining me. Let me know how you like my new background here. I've moved downstairs. It's sometimes a little difficult because I got to put all the animals up and I got the kids here, but I think it looks better. If you'd like to get my help personally, you can contact me at my email. I'll put the link in the description. My website, marksinspiration.com. If you found value in this video, hit the PayPal button. Give me $1, $2, 10, 100, or 1,000. Hey, whatever you feel like the value of this video is worth, I'd appreciate it. I want to keep doing this, and I need your help. Well, I don't know if I need your help, but it would be nice. I'd appreciate your help. How about that? But hey, don't feel obligated. It's great to be here today with you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.